Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda.
Welcome. My name is Rupanuga. Welcome to a transcendent paradigm. Previously we demonstrated how we're not identical with these bodies. You're not identical with your body. I'm not identical with my body. The consciousness, the seer, the knower, the observer, it's different consciousness. It's superior consciousness to this body and all other matter. So we talked about how we survived the changes of the body so many times already. We had a child body, then a youth body, and now an adult body. We remain the same through all these bodies. The same thing for the dead body. We survived that too. We remain the same. So, because we know from our experience that a person goes to a funeral or some ceremony and laments that, oh, they're gone, he's gone, she's gone. Gone. And sometimes we use the phrase passed away. So what happens to the consciousness after passing away from the dead body? That's the next question. What is the destiny? And how is that destiny determined? So the same change of a body that we went through before, transmigration from a young body to an old body, happens at the time of death, and we transmigrate to another body. The question is, what determines that? Where we go, where we're born, what our family's like, what we look like. Several things determine that. The first thing I'll read to you from our reference book, the Bhagavad Gita, as it is. Whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Yam yam vapi swaram bhavam chakjatante balivaram tam tam evate konte sada tad bhava bhavita. So, at the moment of death, whatever we're considering, we're focusing on, because you've heard the phrase that it flashes by, the whole life flashes by a person, and they become fixed on something that's really very important to them. That's the first determinant. The second is what we've done in this life. What karma we've had. Karma means action. And we did good karma, bad karma. Whatever karma we've performed is going to have a result in the next life. That's what it means when we say tooth for tooth, eye for an eye, or whatever you sow, you shall reap. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. So that's karma. And that's what determines where we go, along with what we're thinking at the time of death. Also, another factor is what's unfinished, what we feel unrequited love, what project we're so attached to, something we wanted to continue. So these three things will affect our next appearance in our next body. Next question is, well, how is it determined what's just? Just like you go into a courtroom. In a courtroom, evidence is presented, whether a person is guilty or not guilty. The lawyers do their best, and the judge makes a decision based on all the facts that are garnered. It's not arbitrary, it's not random. A decision is made based on the facts. So that's what happens. It's not arbitrary. A decision is made based on the facts by the judge. Well, who's the judge? Who's the witness? That's the question. The witness is a super consciousness within this body along with us. There's another consciousness in this body, a super consciousness called super soul or super self, and that consciousness, that's the witness. And it's that witness that arranges for our next appearance, our next body, and determines where we appear. Now, what is the evidence of the presence of such a witness? We've all we've all had the experience of conscience. Conscience is the first symptom of the presence of that super self or super consciousness. We've all consulted our conscience. Sometimes we say, Well, I had an attack of conscience. I decided not to do it. I had second thoughts. I really couldn't go through with it. Or sometimes we say, well, that man has no conscience, the way he behaves. So that conscience is like an advisor, like a friendly advisor, like an instructor, sometimes like a preceptor, sometimes like a judge. And that presence, that is the super self, that is the super consciousness. Just like when I pinch here, you can't feel it. When you pinch there, I can't feel it. But super consciousness feels it all. Super consciousness all pervading. How to detect that super consciousness is very important, because in self-realization, the next step after realizing we're not this body, that we're spiritual entities, is to make a connection with that super self or super consciousness that is all pervading. So in our next segment, we're going to discuss more how to detect the presence of the super consciousness. Thank you for your kind attention. Take care.